guys, this is Grace and welcome to my channel and welcome to page number 2 in my all girls mini series here in my YouTube channel. This time around I'm going with a double page layout and I'm doing a little bit different as far as the placement of my photos. Instead of making them horizontal or vertical, I'm going to do them diagonal just because why not, right? I have a bunch of pictures here and these are photos of my daughter when she turned 14 in 2019. We had a little bit of get together with her friends and then of course cake and ice cream. Well, in her case she wanted donuts, and so donuts and a candle for her birthday cake slash treat. And so I am just going to be adding all these photos, and I gotta tell you, I don't normally do that diagonal, but I really liked how this turned out. It does need a little bit of kind of thinking, making sure that where I place them, I'm not cutting off faces, although I did end up doing that in one of the photos, and then making sure that I am not cutting off any important items in the photo as well because it's diagonal. And so that's kind of not the challenge, but just the thing that I would need to remember when I do this again. Now, because it's a diagonal and I wanted I wanted enough space for all the photos to be shown, I felt like it cannot be going all span the whole entire 12 by 24 piece. So I needed kind of a bookends, but in this particular piece, I needed one for the top left and the bottom right. So I created a 4-inch square paper and then cut that in half to make a triangle, and it will fit over in those corners. And then I will of course add a stripe paper just to make a definition between the paper, where the paper ends and where the photos start. And so that's what I'm doing here. These papers are still from the Summer Fun collection of Echo Park, which I had purchased on Tuesday morning. And I know they're summer themed papers, but the colors and the design kind of lends itself for some female type of documentation. And so that's basically, or that's the main paper that I'm going to be using, but I will try to use other ones just depending on what I am scrapbooking. And a lot of the process for this particular layout goes with adhering the photos. Like I said earlier, it needed to be, the placements of the photos will need to be kind of thought out and not just, I can't just slap photos. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. I can't just slap photos wherever. Like I have to make sure that if I put that on the edge and, if I cut an angle off of that, would that cut off some important items? And I'm not just saying this because I know everything. I usually say things because I learned it the hard way. And you will see me later what I mean by that. So as I start off, I wanted to start off, of course, in one corner, and that would kind of be the starting point and would determine the rest of the placements of the photos. And that very first one that you can see on the top left of that photo is a little bit of open space. So I thought that that would be the perfect photo to start off with, because I know that even if I cut that triangle angle of that photo, that I am not going to cut off any of the important pieces. And so here I'm just trying to kind of move them around and see which one would work best. So you can see I'm working with a lot of photos here, and this is where I'm telling you guys that I've kind of messed up. I do have that one 4x6 photo. Now, when I started, when I printed these photos, I kind of knew that I wanted a focal photo, but at that time I didn't know what kind of design I was going to use. So had I known that I was going to do an angle type of layout for this particular documentation, then I wouldn't have done a 4x6, but I have it, and so I want to use it. Now, this is the moment where I realized I have to pay attention to what I'm cutting, because my daughter was holding a bagel in her right hand, which I just cut off from the page. So I was kind of bummed out about that, but it was a lesson learned. And I'm just got to make sure that the next go around of the photos that I adhere will be making sure that I am not cutting off important details of the photo. Again, like I said, this is a birthday photo or birthday documentation, and this is for my daughter's 14th birthday. Now, what I did to make it easier for me was when I was adhering the photos, especially the ones in the center, I just made sure that the two pieces of the cardstock made sure that they were connected as best as I can. And that really helped kind of make the adhering of the photos much easier, because then I don't have to be moving two pieces. Instead, I'm only moving one piece. And then I just used my craft knife at the very end to adhere or to cut off the two pieces to separate them. So that's what I'm doing here. Now I was able to do or adhere over, I believe, 15 photos on this page. And so that makes me really happy because I was able to add as much photo memories as I can of this particular event. But the image or the shape or the female type of an accent that I was trying to use for this page in particular was hearts, and I will be incorporating that but later on. So that's another shape or design that I associate with female type of photos or documentation are hearts. I don't know, for me, I connect, I associate hearts for girls and stars for males. I know that that could be interchangeable just depending on the color scheme that you have. I'm not saying that that's what you have to follow, but that's kind of just like if I'm thinking of elements to add in a female page, I always go with hearts, and then for male it always starts for me. So that might be an idea if you're looking for, just to kind of change it up a bit when it comes to your documentation of female themed pages and also male ones. So I decided that I was not going to add any more photos in that strip because there was only like a 2-inch strip on the bottom, and then I would go into that bookends that I was telling you about. And I don't know, there was really no room for me to add photos. Now I could add my title there, but then I will actually put that somewhere else because I forgot. I need to make room for my journaling. And so this is where my little journaling block comes back onto frame. And I have this big part of, well, not super big, but it's a good at least 1.25 inches thick or tall of a journaling block, and so I need to make room for that, and I'm trying to find the right place. I don't know if you noticed, but there are still parts of the background, especially on the very edges, that are still open. You can still see the purple next to the photos. I will be adding some pattern papers to that, but I wanted to make sure I know the placements of my title and my journaling. Now there is an open space in that 4x6 photo, just a space that my daughter was not in it. It had it had our piano and a big chunk of our living room there, and I felt like that's a negative space in my mind, and so I wanted to cover that up. And I thought, well, maybe I can put the journaling in there, but the angle just, I don't know, I just didn't quite like it. And so I'm deciding, well, maybe I can cover that up with some other thing. But right now I'm still mulling that thought over. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and finish off these triangles on the edges of my page. And the only kind of negative side about this kind of design, especially if you have a lot of photos, is that it doesn't lend itself with enough room for you to decorate. But then again, for me, the decorations, the embellishment is kind of the secondary, even maybe the third most important thing of the layout. And so I gotta make sure I have enough room for the photos first and the title and your journaling before I have, before I even think about adding embellishments. But I will find some room here later on when I am done adding all of these papers, because the papers only has the pattern papers on there. So I will be adding my embellishments on those corner pattern paper pieces that you see me filling in now. So a little bit about the photos. My daughter, she's the one, well, no, I think it was more me, but she is like me. We are obsessed with boba tea. And so well, not tea, but just the boba drinks. So in 2019, her birthday fell on a day where they didn't have any school because of getting ready for the semester ending or the quarter ending. And so we had invited five of her friends to go to our local boba place, the favorite place that we go to. And then they all ordered some boba, and she had ordered two big ones. And there's a picture of her holding her two drinks. And so I thought that was fun. And then her friends, they all gave her something. So we opened up her gifts and took pictures of that. And then at the end of that night, we got some donuts because that's what she wanted. We stuck some candles on there, and then we took some pictures before she made her wish and blew out her candles. So, and this is where the heart comes in. I have these cut file hearts. It's like a solid plus a negative type of heart, just all in one border. And I have it on white, and I'm adding that to the edges of the layout, basically. Now with this particular edge, I wanted to make sure that there's enough adhesive on the edges, and so I purposely adhered the solid type of heart on both edges. And I do know that there's kind of a lot of waste with all the trimming, but I would rather have the solid on the edge so I know that that's adhered there. So now I have my photos and my journaling all in place. I have to work on the title, and I've decided that that's what I'm going to put on top of that piece in that 4x6 photo that I consider as white space. But because of kind of the busier background, I needed to mute that a little bit in order for my word to stand out. And so I'm trying to find some vellum from my scrap stash that's large enough to cover the whole title. Unfortunately, I didn't have any, so I'm just pulling out a new 8.5 by 11 sheet of vellum from my stash and just using that for the back piece of my title. Just measuring, and again, I'm using that grid ruler here because I'm really liking that right now. And I just cut that off, or I measured with the ruler and then cut off I think I cut off like 1.25 inches, and that was like the perfect background for this particular cut file, or this letter cut that I had done in my silhouette a while back. And I'm just adhering that with some mini glue dots for easy adhering. And initially I thought Celebrate would be a good enough title, but then I felt like it needed something else. And so I'm going to add was it a subtitle or something to add to the word Celebrate. And I'm going to just put her age for that particular birthday, which is 14. But to do that, I am going to pull out some more papers and maybe a punch or two in order for me to have a circle place to hold the number 14. And I'm just kind of rummaging through my stuff, trying to figure out what I can use. I do have some stickers that I pulled out specifically for these 5 layouts, and I'm just kind of working my way through that, trying to find what I can add here. I was pulling out items that was screaming kind of female or girl to me, and so I'm just kind of looking what I can use here. Oh, And I guess while I am looking, I'm finding some different stickers and other elements that could work well just to sprinkle it around the photos and the layouts. Again, if you're new to my channel or you're new to the series, I am doing, this time around, I am doing some layouts that have a more feminine, female theme to it or feel to it. And I am specifically using some stash that kind of denotes more female for me. I did add the 14 there and also some other stickers that was not videotaped, but that is my layout. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys another day. Bye.